For the latest details, then, we'll turn now to our Israel correspondent, Noga Tarnopolsky. Hi, Noga. So what else do we know about those who were released on Saturday?
Well, the final one, Hisham, was just released minutes ago. We haven't yet even seen him. Hamas said that because he's an Arab, out of respect for Arabs in the state of Israel, it was going to not have a big military ceremony about him. So we haven't yet seen him. The other three who were released before him were treated as soldiers, were dressed in kind of ersatz military uniforms and paraded on a stage. And before that, we saw two earlier this morning. Vera Mengistu, one of the Israelis you mentioned who had been in Gaza hands, in Hamas hands for 11 years, and Tal Shoham, who was taken from Kibbutz Be'eri, from the south of Israel, a small community where he had gone with his wife and two daughters on vacation. The entire family were captured by Hamas and taken hostage. His wife and two daughters, unbeknownst to him, were released after around a month and a half in captivity. So this is the set, the whole cohort of 6. We're waiting just to see Hisham, who is known to have health problems to begin with. And there was some concern about his condition and maybe that they weren't showing his release so as not to show his physical condition, but we just don't know.
So, Noga, the big question, of course, now is what is likely to happen next. First, when the second phase of the deal is supposed to take effect, and are Israelis optimistic that it will happen, especially because, of course, there are remaining hostages?
Israelis are not optimistic that it will happen. I would say they're hopeful, but it's really astonishing to hear Israelis speak, Israelis of all stripes. Their last hope is that President Donald Trump of the United States is going to push to make phase 2 happen and to free the remaining hostages. There are almost 70 Israeli hostages still in Gaza. We don't know exactly how many are alive and dead, but let's say slightly under half are considered alive. There is so little confidence. The Israelis feel so little confidence in their own government, in their own leadership, that they're simply turning to Donald Trump. You see the signs in Hostages Square in Tel Aviv addressed to Donald Trump, help save them, keep pushing. The mother of Israeli-American hostage Idan Alexander is in Tel Aviv today speaking to Donald Trump from Hostages Square. So there's a feeling of an absence of leadership. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu decapitated his hostages team, fired the head of the Mossad and the head of the Shin Bet, who led the Israeli negotiations team, and replaced them with a crony of his, Ron Dermer, who's the American-born Minister for Strategic Affairs of Israel. And he is in Washington, D.C., holding discussions with the Americans, not in Doha, holding discussions with Qatar to get the Hamas. So it's a bit of a muddled panorama right now, and there are a lot of fears that phase 2 won't happen. I want to add one last thing, which is that Donald Trump yesterday, speaking to journalists, said that his impression is that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu wants to go back to war.
Noga Tarnopolsky, thank you very much.